all sorts of medicines that you can buy.
What are you doing?
Oh, just chilling out. I've just got back from the Dakar in South America, and just thinking through the race and all the stuff that's happened while I've been out there, and just thought, well, I don't know, maybe I'll jot some stuff down to tell everyone all about it, but I don't know, maybe I'll just do it now. So yeah, Dakar 2013, LyndonPoskittRacing.com, and here we are back in snowy old England. Very cold, and it's snowing here today, so quite a stark contrast to what it was in South America. What's it like to be back? Well, I was due back in work yesterday, and I actually called in and extended it till Monday. Quite a bit to catch up on, especially the number of emails that I've had from supporters and people wishing me well and congratulating me on the race. So I wanted to respond to a lot of those and catch up on things here at home, and also spend some time around the house and taking the dog for a walk, usual things that I do in every day. So yeah, what's it like to be back? Well, it's really made me realise that setting yourself goals in life and is really achievable if you just set about it the right way. And as tough as it is and as hard as the year's been, to achieve what I did on the rally, it was really quite exceptional. So I'm over the moon with everything, how it went. Try and think of some questions that people might want to know as well. So what do I think that made the Dakar such a success for me? I do think the preparation that was put into it was a big part of it, certainly with regards to the bike and the decision on which bike to take. I chose to use the KTM Factory 450 Rally, and I think that was a solid decision from the start. The time and effort and the preparation that was put into the bike, the modifications that were put into the bike were the right modifications, not just for the sake of it but for a purpose, so that was good. And I think, being prepared for the unexpected is something that you have to be, and I think, it just shows from some of the issues that I had on the rally, like the faulty ignition switch and overcoming that very quickly, and also the more serious broken fork lower clamp, which could have been a deal breaker had I not had the right equipment, the heavy duty cable ties and the quick metal and things I needed to clean it with, and I had everything on the bike to do the job. So I think just being prepared for the unexpected definitely stands you in good stead. And and physical preparation as well. I got significantly hampered when I broke my foot 11 weeks before the race, and the last 4 weeks before I left to Dakar, after the bike had already left from Le Havre, was really just every day hammering fitness, cycling, upper body strength, things like that, 2 or 3 hours a day, and that it paid off, because physically I actually was feeling good right throughout the race. So definitely physical preparation. Talking about myself and riders as general, maybe what do I think it will take, it takes for a rider to finish the Dakar. I've already mentioned the physical preparation, but there's definitely a certain amount of grit and determination required. Dakar is very much it's designed in such a way that to grind you down is the way I look at it, and you have to be determined to get through that. And there's also an element of discipline involved, because you need to know as a rider when to push and when not to push. So it's very easy to get drawn into faster riders going past you, and you think, yeah, I can stay with them, but then you wouldn't be staying on your road book and your navigation, and that's really important as well. So you need to know, you need to discipline yourself to balance navigation between riding ability. I could no doubt ride faster than I rode on the Dakar, but I wouldn't have been on the top of my navigational game, and that was really important. And I think that just showed on stage 8, was it, when I got a 9th place. I could have pushed that little bit harder, but I stuck to my navigation, and it paid off in the end. So, and a number of other stages where I finished in the 30s as well, That was a big part of it. Riding ability is obviously a massive part of it. You know, you have to be a competent rider to do such an event. There was not many sections that needed really massive technical ability, but there was quite a few areas where if you weren't really experienced, you would easily grind yourself down, and very quickly. So certainly there's an element of riding ability. I mean, you don't have to look at the field. The majority of the field are, you know, European, world level, national level riders. You know, there's not very many beginners out there, and certainly those that are, you see them struggling. So, you know, definitely riding ability is a big part of it. I mentioned navigation, navigating well and navigating sensibly. If you've got any doubts about your navigation, you better get those put right straight away. So if I was ever at doubt where I was, if it meant me stopping and checking, making sure my road book was in line with my GPS and everything else and the waypoints were right, then that's what I'd do. I'd stop and make sure everything was good, and that was my way of giving myself confidence that I was okay to progress. And you know, I wanted a clean race, and that's what I got. I got no penalties for missing waypoints or speeding or anything. So certainly you have to be in the mind game, you know, in the game from a mindset point of view to be in the right place. Yeah, that's about it. Overcoming the unexpected I've already mentioned. Cost of making mistakes. On day 10 I had an accident, a crash I should say, not an accident, it was a crash. And you know, on the Dakar you really can't afford to be doing that. I mean, you will get away with one or two, but it will bite you, and it's as simple as that. And knowing when to push and when not to push is important. And I saw people drop out of the race on day 2, and it really makes you think about it. And some of those with serious injuries. And there's, you know, any time the Dakar can bite. When I had the crash, I wasn't pushing particularly hard. It was just one of those things, and I think I was really quite lucky to get away with it. But one thing it did do, that crash, is it set me back for the next 2 days, because you know, my body was feeling it. I was bruised and bashed. I had a foot that didn't work properly because I'd injured it, and you know, all those things can easily compound into something that will end your Dakar race. So it's really important to try to minimise the number of mistakes you make, whether it be riding, navigation, whether it's your hydration or your food intake. Everything has to be just about right to make it all come together. What was it like to do Dakar with my dad? I'm sure many people are thinking about that. You know, we worked really well together. Obviously we did the Sardinia round, which set us off on the right foot together to do this challenge. We had words in Sardinia as well, so there was a bit of tension there, and we wanted to overcome that in Dakar. And you know, as a team, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I came in on a night, my dad took the bike, he took care of it, he fixed anything that was broken, he did all the preventative maintenance, any problems he'd come and see me about it, and you know, we just worked as a team. So my dad and Ivan Finkelstein, he also helped out with my bike, so there was 2 people on each bike in the team, and you know, it worked really well, and they both helped with whatever needed to be done. I have to say, the bike never left the bivouac in the morning with any problems. It started every morning, it was always ready to go, it always had the right amount of fuel in it, it always had fresh stickers on it every morning if it needed them. You know, the road book was ready just to be loaded. Everything was just exactly right. They knew how I wanted it, and they made it happen. And that has a massive part to play in doing well at the Dakar, because you know, one small thing can easily turn into a big one. So you know, bike, like I said, the bike traffic was perfect. I think in terms of me and my dad, it definitely brought us closer together. I think, you know, it's a fantastic thing to do with your father, and I'm so lucky to be able to do it. And my dad have the right skills. I mean, he taught me everything I know about motorcycles, so to take him with me was fantastic. It was definitely the right decision, and to stand on the finishers podium with my dad at the end of the race, it was definitely something that I'll just remember for the rest of my life, and and I'm sure he will too. So, so the race itself, was it as hard as I expected? It's a difficult one to answer that. I've had a long think about it, and I actually thought it might be harder than it was, but I think I had everything in place that made it quite a simple race for me. There was the dramas that I had were, I got over them pretty quickly, and so they didn't compound into anything massive. And I was quite happy that it wasn't any harder, because I was worn down on some days, and some nights I didn't get as much sleep as I'd like. I wasn't ready for bed at the time that I wanted. I wanted to be bed in 9 o'clock some nights, and I didn't get into bed till 11, and I was up at 4, and that played on my mind a little bit, that I wasn't getting enough sleep. But as a whole, it was a good race, and it was only way I can describe it is like a roller coaster. One day you're really up there, where you're on top of your game, you have a great day, you finish in a top 10 on a Dakar stage, and then the next stage you're having a crash and you're beaten up and you're hurting, and you're at the bottom of your reserves and your camelback's empty, and you've not quite finished the stage, or you've got 80 kilometres to go, and you really just had enough. So. And then 2 hours later, you're back at the bivouac, you've eaten your food, and you're feeling good again. And that's what it's like. It's just up and down all the time. If I was to answer the question about what was the hardest part of the rally for me had to be crossing the Andes, and especially on the first cross across the Andes, where we went across the Andes, then we did a 300k stage, and then we had to cross another 15,000 foot pass. And to be quite honest, I live at sea level, and I suffered with altitude sickness. And when I mean sickness, I was ill. I had a banging headache. I was physically sick. I tried to eat something and it came straight back up. And I just really struggled with that day, and I felt ill. And it just so happened that it was a marathon stage as well, which made it even worse. So I didn't see the crew that night. The dinner wasn't too great, and it was a cold night's sleep, and we got caught in rain and sleet, and I was cold. So all that stuff compounds, and that's the point. You realise you just need that grit and determination to get through it, and it's going to be better in a day's time. Just get through it and carry on. And I'll always remember that day, because it was extremely tough for me. The highlight of the rally is definitely getting a top 10 stage finish, I think, and the most rewarding part of the rally is probably overcoming the fork failure that I had on my front fork and getting to the end of that day, because wherever I finished on that day, the determination was just to finish that day. So that's probably the most rewarding part of the rally. So many people have asked me, I've had loads of messages on Facebook and Twitter and emails and everything, would I do it again? If I didn't have to make the same financial commitment that I did for 2013, then yes, I would definitely consider doing it again. Maybe I can try and get some more sponsors or something. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would like to do it again. I think I enjoy riding motorcycles, so why not? But there's a lot of other things that I'd like to do again. If I did it again, what would I change? I think I'd like, if I did do it again, and certainly I haven't made a decision yes or no yet, but if I did do it again, I think I'd like to do it on my own, with my own team. So that would be another challenge, just to make it different again. And I'd also probably like to run some factory suspension. I mean, Chris at On Track Racing did a great job of my suspension, and I ran standard suspension on the bike, on the factory RR, and I was really happy with the valving and how the bike worked. We got the spring rates just right, and the bike worked really well, but there was a couple of instances where you'd really like it to just blow off that bit quicker, which is what the factory forks do for the cone valve forks. And a couple of times the front kicked where I wouldn't liked it to kick, and it's not anything that could have been done to the standard suspension to stop that happening. It's just the nature of the suspension with the valving that it's got. So I'd definitely look at running factory suspension in the future if I could get it. And I think it would be a little bit easier on my hands because I had a big problem with my hands hurting, as you know. I mentioned on one of the calls about me having carpal tunnel, and the vibration and the hits really does get me. And on the last day, you know, I could have cried in my helmet with the pain in my hand. It was just like a deep pain, and I was shouting at myself because it was so frustrating with the pain in my hands. So, but you know, not made any decisions on Dakar yet for the future. I achieved what I went to achieve, and that was to finish the rally. And to finish where I finished was an exceptional result, and I'm totally happy with every decision I made and everything that I did before the rally and on the rally. And the team worked well, the whole Front Row GB team, and myself, my dad and Ivan, especially on my bike, and you know, it worked, and that's what we went to do, so job done. So what next then? Well, it's a long year 2013. Obviously get back to work first and start to earn some money, and pay off some of the debts outstanding from Dakar. But you know, I'm planning for 2013 as I sit and do this now, and I think the next big goal is probably Romaniacs. I'd like to have a go at an extreme enduro, and why not probably one of the toughest. So I'm planning to do Romaniacs, maybe Erzberg, a couple of rallies, big rallies, maybe Dubai, Australia, something like that. All just thinking about at the moment, but I plan to get a diary on my website as soon as possible, so you'll see what I'm planning on doing. Another thing as well, I'd like to do the ISDE in Sardinia, the International 6-Day Enduro, so I might look at putting a team in for that, so we'll see. So, you know, British Enduro rounds, I'd like to get out and do some British Enduro rounds just to keep my hand in at Enduro as well, so I might do those on the 4-stroke. All the extreme stuff will be on the 2-stroke, so but yeah, that's something else as well. If I'm going to do the extreme stuff on a 2-stroke, I need to start to learn how to ride a 2-stroke because I'm pretty rubbish at that, to be honest. So the first thing I'm doing is building myself a 2-stroke, which is in progress now in the garage, and I'll get that done in the next couple of weeks and start to get out and get some training done on that, so I'm excited about that. Something that's really amazed me is the amount of support that I've got during the race, and you know, my number of supporters and followers has doubled just in the time that I was out on the Dakar, and you know, I'm really thankful of that, and I hope everybody's enjoyed following it. I mean, just by the sheer numbers they must have done, and all the comments that I've got. And I know I keep saying it, but I cannot thank everyone enough who's helped me so far, however they've done it. I really do appreciate all the help that I've had, and you know, everybody following me to achieve this massive goal is fantastic, and I've tried to bring everybody along with me, and you know, it feels like it's worked, and I really want to continue with the Lyndon Poskitt Racing.com theme, and you know, carry on doing other exciting things, and hopefully you guys can follow along with me. I've really enjoyed everybody's kind words of encouragement on Facebook and Twitter, and the emails that I've received, and I've got through them all now, and you know, the thought of sitting down and writing back to everything that's on there would just be such a huge task that, you know, hopefully this video just makes you realise how much I appreciate what everybody's done to help support and encourage me through the Dakar, and I hope that they'll continue to do that. It's quite funny actually, I even got stopped in the street. I went down to the post office to post some support packages from a website the day after I got back, and somebody shouted across the street, Lyndon Poskitt, have you just got back from the Dakar? Like, I don't even know these people, and people in the town, the local town, just know of me and what I've been doing just through following me online, so you know, it's really quite cool that people start to recognise you for what you've done, so it's great. And you know, finally, the sweetest thing of all is the fact that I've got this. I've got a finisher's medal from the Dakar Rally, and you know, although the rally's over, this will stay close to me for the rest of my life, and you know, I really do feel proud for doing this. So with all that said, I'd like to say thanks again to everybody, and before too long I'll be back and I'll be seeing you and we'll be doing more fun stuff together hopefully. Okay, thanks, bye.